I woke up this morning and I had a very clear intention to make this video. There are two reasons why you feel like you are falling apart in your life, whether you are, self-sabotaging, whether you're crying a lot, whether you're agitated or you're, being resentful, and whatever it may look like. When you just have those moments when you are just like, damn, I feel broken. I feel like nothing is working out. I feel like things are just getting worse and worse. There's two times in your life, not two times only, but there's two different scenarios where that can happen, and they're very different, and they're both very important. So the first one is when you are completely out of alignment with what you should be doing. So humans are the same as nature, right? Think of a tree. It's either continuously expanding or it is decaying. And so when your soul can feel you on a hamster wheel, doing things that don't bring you joy, interacting with people that aren't lifting you up in a positive direction, your soul is literally dying. When you are not expanding, when you are not creating, we are the highest forms of creation on this planet. And so when you are in a box that you are not supposed to be in, that you designed for yourself, whether intentionally, but then you've grown out of it, or it was a box designed by someone else or society or whatever, but you decided to stay in it. When your soul starts to recognize that it is dying, right? I feel like our spirit has patience with us. It'll allow us to meander, to be in a default state. But after a while, it recognizes that if it does not give you the biggest fucking wake up call of all time, that you are going to continue to be in that pattern forever. And so what happens is everything around you will start falling apart. Your life will look like a complete shit show. You will feel like you are falling apart. And this is a signal. It is a signal that you know you're meant for more. You know that you are playing small, but you've continued to do it anyway. And when you recognize that you're playing small, when it comes into your awareness that you see the matrix, you see that you are copy and pasting your life every single day, week after week, year after year, sometimes it's going to be a dramatic shift, a very dramatic shift. And so right when you wake up for the first time, things fall apart. And that is your signal to not try to put that toothpaste back in the tube, because it's not going to work. Once you wake up, once you're aware, once you see through the matrix, you cannot continue on that path and have that path go smoothly. Okay, like ignorance is bliss, that's real. Because people that are on the hamster wheel, they are, survival mode is normal for them. They don't even feel or recognize that they're in survival mode. That's a completely different, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this chunk of this video is for the people that know, that are aware that there is something that you are supposed to be doing. Whether it's a project, whether it's a calling, whether it's a specific kind of environment. Maybe you're supposed to move somewhere. Maybe the mountains have been calling you for years, but your family doesn't live in the mountains. And so, you're just going to stay where you are because that's more reasonable, that's more logistical, right? You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, whatever the case may be. Whether it's changing careers, whether it's changing partners, whether it is starting to exercise, whether it's, more play in your life, right? Maybe you want to start painting, but you've never painted before and it's not going to look good. So what's the point? Whatever it is, there are things, small, medium, big, that you are aware in this moment that you are supposed to be doing and you're not. And every single day that you continue to not do those things, your life is going to feel more and more jaded. When your soul recognizes that you will not get uncomfortable on purpose, you will become a frequency match for situations and people and environments that are uncomfortable as hell. Because your soul is fighting for its survival because it wants to expand. That's one. Now, the second reason your life feels like it's falling apart is what happens right before you have a quantum leap. So you have already, the first part that I just went over, you've already experienced that. You woke up, you made the changes, you've been making the changes, you've changed environments, you've changed what you're pouring your focus into, you changed who you hang out with, all of that. You've been doing the work. You're changing your identity every single day. You're moving different, you're speaking different, you're showing up different. How you think, how you speak to yourself is different. You're doing the work. You are neck deep in the work. And then everything feels like it's falling apart. And you're like, all of that growth was so uncomfortable to go through. Why the fuck does this feel so painful? And that is because that is your opportunity. That is a signal for you to signal to yourself that your new identity, that all the changes that you've been making, all the effort, all of the energy, all of the focus, all of the intention was for real this time. So your life feels like it's falling apart because your old identity, not just one, your old identities, your old limiting beliefs, your old paradigms, all of it, everything that you've been moving through as you've been neck deep in the work, that old version of you is going down, kicking and screaming. It is fighting for its survival, even though your higher self is in the driver's seat. And so it is in the trunk of the car with duct tape over its mouth, with its feet tied together, and it's going to do any last little thing it can for you to change your mind about this growth and the trajectory that you've designed for yourself. And so right before you have your quantum leap, everything is going to feel like it's going to shit. You're going to feel like you are going backwards. You are going to purge. You're going to have a major purge, whether it's physical, whether it's friendships, whether it's a love like in your life. It doesn't matter. Like big things are going to happen, and every single thing that feels like it's going to shit is because it is not a match for the reality that you're about to bounce into. It cannot go with you. So when you think about this stage, and when you have awareness that that's the stage that you're in and that's what's happening, it makes it a lot less painful. Because when you don't have awareness and you've put in all this effort and you've been growing so much and you've just put so much time and energy and intention into your design for your life, and the results, the physical results haven't caught up yet, you feel like you are batshit crazy. You feel so crazy. And you also feel fake. That's when imposter syndrome will explode. That's where your dissuasion will start talking, like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you thought that this was going to be this easy. Like, it's going to start saying anything it can to get you to doubt all of the changes that you've made. But I want you to think about this point. It's like if you had a slingshot, right? And right when you pull back and your arm muscle is tight and you know that if you pull back a little bit farther, then whatever you're shooting is going to go farther. You're in that wiggle stage where your arm is burning and you feel like you're never going to be able to release. And I'm telling you, the most intense it ever gets is right before you completely change timelines. And there's so many examples of this, like in history, like the cheesy stories that people, and I don't want to say cheesy in a bad way because they are inspirational. They're real people with real energy and they did the damn thing. But people thought that Walt Disney was crazy, like batshit crazy, needed to be in an asylum crazy. Okay, Michael Jordan got cut from his team. Like all of those stories, that is what happens right before you're in a quantum leap. It looks so much worse. It feels so much worse before it gets better. One of my favorite analogies for this, especially when it comes to redesigning your thoughts and what it feels like and what it looks like in real time, is think about having a junk closet. I mean, just shit piled in this closet, floor to ceiling, and you've been avoiding it and you've just been putting stuff in there. Well, when you get to that moment where you're like, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore, and you start taking all of it out, You have to take all of it out, and it's all over the floor in the hallway. You're walking around it. It's a hot mess. It's overwhelming. You may have a little baby panic attack because of how bad it was. But then as soon as you start putting it back in piece by piece, it's exponential. And so that is the second time. So there's two categories. Category number one, your life, you are in survival mode, but you're aware that you're in survival mode, and you are aware that you are feeling called to step into something bigger. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Everybody is unique. Everyone's soul has its own unique essence that cannot be duplicated. And so whatever bigger means to you, when I say that, there's something in your brain that goes, she's talking about this. I don't know what's going on in your brain, but you do. You know what that is. So there's the two. You are aware that something bigger is calling you, and you haven't started moving towards it yet. You haven't started taking action. You haven't started becoming the version of you that is a match for it. And your soul is fighting for its life to create, to expand, to design something new. And then you have the other category. You've done the work. You have started designing. You have repatterned. You have done shadow work, you have let go, you have purged, you've done all this stuff, and your physical results haven't caught up yet. And so you are in between. That old identity doesn't feel like you anymore, but you haven't fully embodied your new one yet. And your old one is pulling you back by your hair as hard as it possibly can. Both are very painful. Regardless of which one you're in, it is extremely important that you pay attention and that you integrate whatever your next step is. If you are in a default state and you know that you want to design something bigger and better for yourself, then you have to start taking action on that. Your life will continue to unravel. You cannot, once you have awareness, once you see through the matrix, once you recognize you're on a hamster wheel, you cannot go backwards. You can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. You can't unfeel it. And then you've got to keep going, and you've got to trust that all the work that you've already put in, all of the results that are a match for the level, the caliber of work and the caliber of intention and energy and effort that you've been putting in is moving towards you in real time. And so even when it is painful, you double down. You double down. You do not allow yourself to view it as a signal that everything that you've done isn't working, that you're failing, that you are a failure. No, it's the opposite. When shit hits the fan, oh, my quantum leap is incoming in real time. It's already happening, and I've just got to strap in. I got to keep my head down. I got to keep doing what I've been doing, and I've got to trust that my higher self is in the driver's seat, and those are my old identities that are a bitch and a half to deal with. I got to go drop them off at the Grand Canyon because they got to go, because they can't go to the destination that I'm going to. Well, that was the message that I felt really, really channeled, tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Like I woke up with so much clarity to make this. And so regardless of what category you're in, I just want you to know that you're doing great. You are doing great. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and everyone's human experience looks and feels different. There is no point of comparison. There is no right or wrong. But you have to keep moving. You cannot be stagnant. Stagnation is an illusion. You are either expanding or you are contracting. There is no in between. That is a lie. It is conditioning, it is programming, and it is a lie. You absolutely deserve to build, design, manifest, step into the biggest, boldest, badass version of you. And you are the only one that can do that. Nobody else can do that for you. Sure, there are people that help with that. I mean, I help people with that, but it has got to be a personal choice from you to do that for yourself. Have a wonderful day, guys.